Hello, everyone. We are live on a Wednesday night. Thanks for pushing the show back with me to Wednesday. Had an event on Monday, but it worked out because my guest is only off on Wednesdays and Thursdays, so it really actually worked out this week. But again, welcome to Chef Life Live. I, of course, am your host, Chef Alex Ottusch, and Chef Life Live is where we talk to the many diverse people that make up the food industry and try to give them a platform to tell their own story, because everyone's got one. Everyone deserves their own episode of Chef's Table. I don't know how to get them, so I'm trying to do my best here and provide that for them. I'm very excited for my guest, Jeremy. I'm going to do my best to pronounce his name. He's never actually told me. He always makes me try to pronounce it, but Pyrzynski, I believe, is how you pronounce it. But he and I worked together at Little Goat. He was my first sous chef there, then became my CDC there. But Jeremy did grow up in Chicago and has been cooking in Chicago for 15 years. His first job before culinary school was at a small fusion place on Southport called Coobah's, and that lit the flame for his career. Having spent time at De La Costa until it closed down over a year ago, that Peruvian and South American flavors embedded in his brain. After the restaurant closed down, he took a few years off to fulfill his music dreams in touring the country with his band Encrust. Once that itch was scratched, it was time to get back to cooking. He worked at various places throughout the city until he landed with the Boka group, working with chef Stephanie Izard. He's currently the chef de cuisine at Cabra, Stephanie Izard's Peruvian-inspired restaurant in the Hoxton Hotel. And when he's not working, he is traveling, of course, when it's okay to, or playing World of Warcraft. So I will bring on Jeremy, and we will talk we'll get to know him a little bit better. How you doing, Jeremy?
Great, man. How are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing well. It's good to see you, too. It's been a while.
Yeah, dude. You got a full beard. Look at you.
I know. You notice the hair, too. It's not as long as yours.
Oh, look at you.
Right? Got the little pony. It's going. Trying to get that full man bun by the wedding time in August, so... All right, well, the first question I feel like is obvious that I have to ask is, what's your character in rank in World of Warcraft? If there is ranks, I don't know anything about World of Warcraft.
So I've got a couple. My main is Farthammer. He's a Dark Iron Dwarf Death Knight. I've got Fat Hammer, who is a Dark Iron Dwarf Shaman. I've got Fart Heels, who is a human priest. I've got Fart Hunter, who is a Night Elf Hunter, and then I have Fart Dagger, who is a Troll Rogue. There's a theme with my characters, if you can't tell.
I noticed that. Also, I forgot to mention this in the intro. Tonight's a little special. Jeremy pointed out a few weeks ago that I overused the phrase "for sure" in these interviews. So he has challenged me to a little drinking game that anytime I say it, we have to take a shot. Anyone who's watching can join us, but I have my Jameson right here and some water. So we're going to see how this goes, but hopefully I'm still functioning after the show's over, but so we can get right into the questions. Right so on. Jeremy, you grew up in Chicago. Like, what was that like growing up here? Were you like in the city or out in the burbs?
So I grew up on the northwest side of Chicago, kind of like the Portage Park area.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it seems to be gaining popularity nowadays. It's been pretty much my whole life there. My parents moved there, and I think I was like 2, so I don't remember before that, but I was there until I was in my 20s and kind of branched out and moved out on my own. It was cool. It was a nice, quiet neighborhood, just like one of those neighborhoods to where you knew everybody on the block. A bunch of neighbors are still friends of ours. Like, we all went to the same grade school. All of our parents were on like the parent-teacher council, so it was like very embedded neighborhood. Everybody knew everybody. We all said hi. We shoveled each other's sidewalks, kind of like that.
Yeah. Do you remember anything about like the food scene? How's it changed over the years since you started cooking and up till now?
I mean, from that area that I grew up in, the fact that there are restaurants now is kind of cool. It was pretty mild, you had like the place we would always go to was Jeff Red Hots, which is just like a typical Chicago hot dog burger stand. And a little train that went around the ceiling on the inside. And I remember going there as a kid. But like now there's like little microbreweries that have opened up and, kind of, pub and grill situations. There's a couple different bars that have opened up over there. So they're branching out, and people are kind of like figuring out that there's food to be had in the city.
Yeah, that's actually where Community Tavern. I interviewed the owners.
Oh, cool.
Of Community Tavern they're in Portage Park, and their food is really good. We had it picked up takeout one night from there, and it's really good.
They off of Irving Park? I feel like I know where they are.
They're off of Milwaukee, I think, like way down that way. There's like a weird 5-way intersection.
Yep,
that's off of Milwaukee.
Jeff Red Hot's is actually right over there. I just looked it up exactly where that's at. That's at that 6-corner intersection. Yeah, so that's literally where I grew up. There was like a Sears there with a hot dog cart behind it. Now you have restaurants and stuff. So it's grown up. It's pretty great.
Yeah, I never even knew about that part of town until I discovered them and went over there, and it was like, oh, this is like a whole different neighborhood of the city. It was kind of crazy to see it kind of go through the west side and then into Portage Park.
Like a whole area.
It's way different. But that's really cool though. You kind of got to see that evolve and change and kind of grow up, like you said. Do you have any other favorite food cities that you like to travel to specifically for food?
Denver's a favorite. Usually go there every January. This year the trip was scrapped. That's a good one. Vegas, love everything in Vegas. There's so much more outside of the strip that I don't think most people realize that there's a ton of hidden gems out there. I would say those would be my favorite, Denver and Vegas.
I haven't been to either. Oh, wow. Those are new. I think we've heard Denver on the show. Never Vegas. That's a interesting one. I've never, I haven't been to
Vegas. You got to go look
Denver,
for it.
Honestly, which is I would imagine Vegas, you really got to look for it. Those, like you said, those hidden gems for sure. But I mean, all the Gordon Ramsay and Hell's Kitchen restaurants and all that kind of stuff. It's probably right there.
Hell's Kitchen.
And I'm not down.
It was.
I'm not down with that. I'm sure it's really good. Gordon Ramsay knows what's up. He's not.
No, the restaurant was not good.
It was not good. No,
it was not good.
He's not there all the time. No, that's a bummer. I know he can cook really well.
Yes, he can.
I have faith in Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, he can cook really well. But all right. Well, besides food cities, what about just favorite foods in general?
I find the older that I've gotten, the less fussy my food that I enjoy is. Okay. My favorite thing at home is what's in the fridge, throw it in a pan, figure it out.
Right? Yeah, that's what we've been doing lately too.
Good old sandwiches, can't go wrong. Good cheeseburger, hot dogs, kind of those comfort classics.
Yeah.
I would say sandwiches, burgers.
Okay. Did you have any guilty pleasure foods through the pandemic or the actual quarantine?
I mean, my number one guilty pleasure food is Wavy Lay's and Dean's French onion dip.
All right.
It's just so good. It's so good.
Yeah. That's fair. We eat a lot here. We've been toning it down because we got a little ahead of ourselves and during the pandemic. But Costco brand artichoke dip.
Okay.
That stuff's it's good.
Their tortellinis are pretty solid.
They are. Yeah, they actually are. We swear by Costco. They got some good stuff for sure. Hey, Johnny Osborne's on watching. Thanks for.
What's up, Johnny Osborne?
A friend of mine from the Navy, Encinas here, was asking if we know about Sonoran Hot Dog. I don't know what that is.
It's got mayo, bacon, ketchup, sometimes jalapenos. I think it's fried too, if I'm not mistaken.
I mean, that does not sound bad. That sounds very good.
I'm a purist.
But right, yeah.
There it is.
I thought about asking you at some point, Vienna or Nathan's, but that would have been a stupid question to ask. I know. Why would I ask that? Why would I ask that to a true?
You already know the answer,
right? Yeah. Well, we had that discussion at Little Goat before talking about that.
Vienna, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, since you've been here for your entire life, what's one of the better meals you've had in Chicago? Or memorable, I guess.
First time I went to eat at Girl and the Goat was like knocked my socks off.
Right?
They sat us at they sat us at the chef's table, like looking into the kitchen, and it was when I had just started working for her, and it was unbelievable. And then close with that would be Boka under Lee Wolin.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. That was Girl and the Goat for me was definitely like eye-opening after I did my stage there. And that was when I was working in Alinea, but that was where my buddy Addison and I had our first like mandate. That was like our first, the spawn of our friendship was that Girl and the Goat. No reservation. Just there was like a spot. We went in first and they're like, well, we don't have anything right now, but you can come back and maybe there's something be open. And we came back and like they wedged us in between like that pillar at the bar.
Yep.
And so we were just like smashed in between, just sharing all this awesome food. But it was great. It was awesome. Yeah, it blew me away. But
yeah, and I think when I went to eat at Boka, it was either the first or the second iteration of his ricotta dumplings. And I don't know if you'd ever had those, but they were just...
So. I've been there, but I don't think they had those on the tasting menu at least.
Unbelievable. They made it on the way to the Somerset menu, and it was like anytime we would go, it was you have to get 2 orders of those, no matter what.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's like going to Little Go and always having to get the home fries, pork belly home fries.
Oh, yeah.
You have to.
You have to.
Absolutely have to. How's the new house? You just moved in, right?
Yeah, we moved in October. I mean, like midway October. And I'd say we're about half unpacked.
Okay.
to be honest with myself, is about halfway unpacked. We took some time off of work to kind of get settled in, but then it was like we both went right back to work, and it was, it's been nonstop for me ever since. I mean, same with my wife. We're both working nonstop. So
that's good.
It's great though. It's a nice quiet block, nice big yard, great kitchen. I got a pasta filler for the first time in my life. I feel cool.
Oh man.
Yeah.
You
moved on up.
Moving on up for sure.
Use it all the time.
That's good.
You don't even need to make pasta. Just boil some water.
Yeah, that's nice. That sounds really nice. We don't have anything fancy. We don't even have. I mean, we have fancy equipment that we just have accumulated between the three of us over the years. But as far as our kitchen goes, the stock stuff's not too great. Or at least we complain about our sink all the time. It's like in a corner, and it's like it's so small. It's like this big, and
that's not a big enough sink.
It's not. It's terrible, but we make it work. It's been fine. Okay. When you're at work, you're in a kitchen, you're prepping anything, do you prefer a silent kitchen or music?
So before service, I'm okay with music. During service, I want focus. So before is okay, during is not, and after is fine.
All right. That makes sense. Do you ever play your band, Encrust? Do you ever just...
No, but one of my line cooks rolled in one day with a CD he bought off Amazon, and he goes, "I found this. This is you." And I was like, "Where did you get that?" It's like, what? Blew my mind.
That's awesome, though. That's really cool. I mean, your band's on Spotify, right?
Yeah. So the band kind of fell apart because a bunch of adults and life and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, we were on Spotify. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's out there if you want to find it.
Encrust, check them out. What kind of music is it?
It's if like 5 dudes who played in death metal bands for a long time wanted to like write Ozzy Osbourne riffs.
Okay,
so somewhere
sounds pretty good.
No.
It's not bad. All right, now that we have gotten to know you just a little bit, it's of course everyone's favorite segment, which is the questions that, of course, require no garnish. All right, Mr. Jeremy. how do you feel about being interviewed and actually like talking about yourself, talking about the industry?
This is the first time I've been interviewed.
Oh,
There was
very cool.
I was like interviewed on the street at a South by Southwest one time for 30 seconds, and then this is the first time I've ever like sat down and talked with someone. I think it's kind of cool. I think there's a lot of people in our industry that I think you kind of alluded to it at the beginning. Like we all have a story to tell, and we have a perspective that a lot of people don't know about or have heard about. So I think it's cool. Like I'm super excited. Thought about this all day. I was very excited about it. Still.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad you're still excited while we're doing this. That makes it better. So, you started cooking when you're pretty young. Like, what was it about that first restaurant? Or actually, let me back that up. Did you consider cooking a career like when you were younger, or is it just something you kind of fell into with that first job?
No, it's definitely something I fell into. Grew up with my household was lucky. We grew up with a computer. Like every iteration of a computer, we had one. So I was always very computer forward. Always wanted to know how they worked, why they worked, what was this piece, what was that piece. I was the guy, switching out parts in the computer. So that was kind of where I started. And then I was in high school. I got into jazz band. I wanted to pursue music as a career, but school was very expensive and like there's really no prospects for it. So I went to Paul for 2 semesters for a computer graphics and animation degree, and it just wasn't for me. So I dropped out, and my older brother was like, "You're gonna come work for me." He was working at a nightclub at the time, and I was like, "Okay, cool." Like, start helping out, do this, do that, and then like one day, his friend had a party, and he told my brother, he's like, "Hey, you guys like take care of the food." And it was the first time I'd ever seen somebody be like, "You are cooking." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And we did this whole it was like we did like all these different grilled meats and like side salads and this, that, and the other. I was like, this is really cool, and I really like this concept. So then I was like, maybe I go to school, let's go work in a restaurant and see what I can do.
Is that when you like kind of decided that you wanted to go to culinary school, or did that come after that first job?
It was kind of in tandem, and it was like, some people were like, apply to a job first or go to school first. And it was like, I don't remember if I got into Coobah's before I was in school or like right as I got into school, but it was like 2 days a week, some, real simple stuff, kind of prepping, working, salads and plating a cake kind of, for dessert or whatever it was. But I was like, oh, this is cool. It's like weird pirate gang of people. Like I'm a part of it.
Right. That's how a lot of kitchens are described. So it's like that pirate crew of people in the back. Like that's
absolutely.
Yeah. It's always kind of fun to like say that you're a part of that. Like, we're all these like crazy people, but I'm there. I'm one of them.
I'm one of them.
I'm one of them. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's really cool because you just hear all these interesting stories. They're like, the things I've heard in kitchens just blow my mind. It's like,
oh yeah, I remember eating that first kitchen and hearing some shit. I was just like, is this real? Like, one dude rolled in 30 minutes late and just got like real close to my face, and he was like, "Dude, I just did a ton of cocaine. I need your help." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Yeah, this is for me."
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was always a place for like misfits, and it's like kind of certain areas of it has gone past that, but there's always misfits in like any kitchen. It's really interesting. But so you went how was culinary school for you then? Like, do you think it was like great that you went, or do you think you could have kind of skipped over that?
It's hard to say because I didn't take it super serious, and I know that. Like I was just like, whatever, cool, I'm here. Like I'll just go to work after this, and it's fine. If I would go back and do it again, I would like pay attention more. But there were definitely those people that were like, "Oh, I'm in a restaurant, and I'm just going here for a degree." That I felt like I was like, I definitely don't want to be like you, so I'm just going to kind of float around in the middle. I guess if I would have kept working at that restaurant, I probably wouldn't have needed school. But yeah, it was good. I was glad that I did it. It taught me some structure and gave me some rigidity to my life. But I generally steer people away from it.
Okay, yeah, it kind of go both ways. I usually tell people like it can definitely be worth it to learn some of those building blocks, those fundamental skills, and also get like some networking. But it's not completely necessary. You can kind of jump into a kitchen. You're going to learn all that stuff anyways.
Yeah,
So,
and that university that I went to is no longer accredited, so I actually have a worthless degree.
That's always fun.
Yeah, cool.
It's great. So then after Coobah's, right? After that closed down, that's when you did the music thing?
So Coobah's was open for a bit. They brought in a new chef, and he was like, I got to cut costs. You're the newest guy, the least amount of experience. And he let me go as I was doing my, I think a week before my internship for culinary school, which I was just going to use that for. So that I was let go from that place. And then I forgot how I ended up at De La Costa, but it was in the old River East Art Center building, like the last building before Navy Pier. And I walked in like a shirt and tie and dress shoes, and the chef came out and he was just like, "You want to work here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I got a chef coat in my bag. Like I'll put my shoes on and stuff." I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, but let me do it." And then he was like, "Okay, cool. You can come stage for a couple hours today." And I was like, "Awesome, let me do it." And then I was mandolining, I think it was 80 pounds of green and 80 pounds of red jalapenos, like 1/8 of an inch slice, just sitting there for 8 hours, just shaving these things. And they were like, "Did you like it?" I was like, yeah, it's fine. They're like, "Cool, you can work here then." I was like, "Oh, all right, cool. Great, I need this for school."
For anyone watching who doesn't know how stages work, like that is 100%. If you're going to go in for a stage, that's what you're doing. You're going to be peeling something for hours or mandolining something. You're standing in one spot doing the most monotonous thing that nobody else in the kitchen wants to do. So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I had to check in. I was like, "Hey, is this right?" Like, I've never done this before because I'm still in school. The thrill of mass production. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I ended up being at that restaurant until it closed. And it was it was weird. It just kind of one day, we were like, "Oh, we're just going to do Friday, Saturday dinner service." And then they were like, "We're just going to open Saturdays." And all of us were just like, "Okay, this is fine."
Yeah. Yeah,
It's not.
And then, so that closed down, and then you were like, needed a break from cooking and wanted to do it, or you're just like, you just wanted to pursue that music thing and just had to go for it then?
I had picked up a morning gig at a hotel, and it was just I was like, I hate this. And I remember it was I think it was November of 2009. I had reached out to my cousin who was a store manager for Guitar Center, and I was like, "Hey man," I was like, do you know anybody hiring? Because I think I just need to do something different. He got me in a week later. I gave my chef notice, and then I was just like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna go do this music thing for a little bit." And I was in a bunch of different bands. And then I fell into that Encrust band by total accident, and it was great. I spent 5 years working for Guitar Center, so I took a break for probably up 3 years before I started picking up catering gigs. But
okay,
I always had that itch. I couldn't go to school for music, so it was I never really got to satisfy that craving to really pursue music. And then I did, and I was like, "Oh, this sucks. This is very expensive hobby to be miserable."
So then you went back to cooking, which is
I know, but really learned my lesson. That's for sure.
This is really hard. It costs so much money. Maybe I'll just go to
I'll go to that.
Pretty much the same thing, but
just with more knives.
Maybe worse. With knives. That's really funny. But
what the fuck is wrong with me?
It's fine.
Hey, that's my cousin. There he is.
Yeah, there you go. When you started doing the music thing, did you ever actually think you'd go back to cooking?
No. I mean,
No.
where I was at that industry, it was like I got to do all the cool stuff. Like I sold Chief Keef 2 full recording studios. Like I got to go to Milwaukee to deliver a whole tour package of gear for Lupe Fiasco. Like I got to do some really cool stuff. Like I got to leave work for a month and go tour with my band. And I was like, this is great. If I can make a living here, why would I do anything else? And then it was like some things changed at the store I was at, some people changed, and there was a lot of stuff going on, and I was just like, this is turning in a direction that I don't want it to go in. And like I still talk to some of my bosses from that career now, and they've come and eat at my restaurant or at Steph's restaurant, and like it's cool because I've made connections that I'll have for the rest of my life.
For sure. Oh, I said it. I caught myself, but I said it. That's the first one. That's the first one. Oh man. Cheers, everybody.
Picklebacks.
Dahlia pickle juice. That's the first one. I tried to not let it slip. I didn't even finish saying it, but I had to stay true.
Oh man, I love it.
So when you finally started going back to kitchens, was it difficult to do, or was it just kind of like
it was weird? It was like riding a bike. I had managed some front of house stuff for a little bit, and then I found myself just like working my way back towards the kitchen to like expo and make sure food got out to tables and stuff like that. It was just this weird pull, and it was just like, this is where you belong, go stand in the kitchen. And I was like, all right, yeah. I tried to really like pursue the front of house management side of things. I ended up at a whiskey bar that is no longer around. I got fired because I broke a bottle of Macallan M, and if you're unaware of how expensive that bottle is, it's about $4,000 retail. Or I'm sorry, wholesale, not even retail.
Ooh.
Yeah, so that happened. Yeah, it was an oof for sure. I was like, I'm dead. I was unemployed for a little bit, and then I reached out to a friend from kind of like the Chicago music and nightlife scene, and he was like, I'm actually opening a restaurant. Why don't you come by and check it out?
So you did.
Yeah, and then I was just like back in the kitchen, and I was like, okay, cool. This is what I should do.
Nice. Did you see any similarities between like the music industry and culinary?
Yeah, that whole pirate crew thing, it's very real. There's this like symbiosis between the two, because it's like the outcasts on one side and the outcasts on the other, and you're all doing the same kind of stuff. Like you have to support the people next to you, and if you fail to do that, they fail to help you. It's like those industries thrive on teamwork with like somebody overseeing everything. So there was a ton of similarity of like working a line versus like helping out a bar in the middle of a busy shift. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah. We're all in this together.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense. So you had said that De La Costa is like Peruvian South American. That really like struck a chord with you, no pun intended. But what was it about Peruvian and South American flavors that really like captured you?
I don't know if it was the timing for me or if it just was the combination of flavors, but like Douglas Rodriguez was the first one in this to kind of push that Latin fusion movement, and that was the chef behind De La Costa. I think I met him twice, but the people that I had around me, like my sous, my chef de cuisine, the executive chef of that restaurant, were just like so into making good food. And excuse me, the more I learned about Peruvian food and South American food in general, like what you end up finding out is like the people that were there and like the different cultures that settled in South America and Peru and stuff like that. So what you end up having is like you have like a cuisine that's kind of fusion on its own because of who settled there hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So it was like it was like a whole world of everything just like kind of compacted into one, and it was like the use of chilies and like potatoes, the different, like the amount of acid and vinegar and citrus and like these. I think Jimmy says it. Jim Papadopoulos. He's the bold, bright, beautiful. It's like
yeah.
So he also worked at that same restaurant, and he had left right before I started. But like,
okay.
When he says that, that's where my brain goes. I'm like, absolutely. All of that stuff is like, that is just ingrained into my brain because those flavors were so just like in your face. And it was just.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm rambling.
No, I know. I totally understand. That's like how I felt like first coming to work at Little Goat and like being introduced to all the different Asian ingredients that Steph loves to use.
Oh yeah,
and it just blew my mind the amount of like
it's everything.
Yeah, and I was like, this is amazing, and so that's like, and I know that Asian and South American like cuisine kind of fuses itself together because there's a lot of Asian immigrants in South America. And a lot of influence there, and so it's like, yeah. So I absolutely understand where you're coming from with the bold, beautiful, and in your face or whatever Chef Jimmy says, but it's 100% true. So where were you before you ended up with Stephanie and Boka?
So I was at Saved by the Max. That was the last restaurant that I was at before I made the jump to work with Steph.
Okay.
That was the restaurant that I had reached out to a friend, and he was like, yeah, I'm opening this spot. It was supposed to be like a 3-month pop-up. It was a Saved by the Bell themed diner. Chef Brian Fisher, formerly of, what was he at? He's at Schwa, and then he opened Entente. He was the executive chef. Yeah, he was the executive chef. He wrote the menu, and I was hired to just like kind of be a helper, but the person that was supposed to run the kitchen just kind of didn't show up for like a week before we opened. So I was like, all right, let's call the produce company. Let's get vendors in here. Let's figure this out because we open in 2 weeks and like GQ's talking about the restaurant. So like, I'm not going to sit around and be like, well, I'm not the guy, so I'm not doing it. It was like, all right, let's go.
Let's do it. Make it happen.
I ended up
absolutely
I kind of like fell into like the CDC position at that spot.
Oh wow!
Just because it was like, all right, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah, make it work.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. And obviously, Destiny Stone loved her first taste of poutine there. So
we did Brian Fisher's recipe for red eye gravy was so good. It was like you took beach mushrooms, brown and white, and you sauteed them down super heavy, tons of thyme, onion, garlic, and like nice dark mushroom gravy, and then hit it with this coffee, and it was so good.
Ooh,
Tasso ham, white cheddar cheese curds.
That sounds really good.
It was very good.
But
you needed a nap after it.
I believe it. I mean, that's what happened like the first time I had okonomiyaki pancake.
Oh, yeah.
You remember.
You ate the whole thing in like 30 seconds on the line. I was like, that's a mistake, buddy.
Right as we were about to close.
Yeah, you got to scrub down still.
Yeah, I was quite tired. That was probably one of the few times where I did not close down fast. I was like, I'm not moving. This is rough. So after that, then you landed with Stephanie at Little Goat first, correct? That was your...
Yeah.
You said you ate there before, but did you like really know about Stephanie and like kind of her grasp on Chicago, I guess I'll say?
So when I was at De La Costa, that was when she was on Top Chef. And we would all of us line cooks every line cook in that restaurant went off to do amazing things. We would all come in the day after the episode and we would be like, oh my God, did you see this? They did this and then this and then that. Yeah. Like, oh my God, Richard Blaze had scales on his salmon that he oh my God. Like we would nerd out over it. So like I knew who she was, but I had never eaten there. And it was like, her name was always just around. And I was like, well, I know the name. I know that she's good at what she does. Like,
yeah,
let's go. I sat down and I talked with her and I was like, okay, yeah. I like what you're putting down. Like, this sounds awesome.
Yeah. Did you start as a line cook or did you go right into management?
I came in as a sous chef. They were looking, and I kind of came in at like the right time. I think it was like the beginning of March, almost actually 4 years ago. And it was like somebody had just left, and it was like there was like this gap filled because either I don't remember if somebody was leaving or had already left, but it was like I just kind of came and I fit right in.
Mm-hmm.
I got very lucky.
Yeah. How was it working for, a celebrity chef versus other chefs that you had worked for in the city?
I don't think she counts the same way as other celebrity chefs do, because back in 2008 or whatever, Douglas Rodriguez was considered as a celebrity chef, and like I said, in almost 2 years I met him twice. Whereas, and you can attest to this, like working for Steph, like I worked more shifts on her. Shifts with her on the line than I had ever met previous chefs before that. So it's like,
yeah, that is.
She is cut from a very different cloth.
Yeah, that's very true. She's everywhere. She's at all the restaurants, like almost all the time, and it's insane.
Yeah,
how she does what she does.
It's so. It's hard to compare her to like other celebrity chefs, because I would love to see any of them do what she does 6 days a week.
Yeah, that's real. That is real. I have never really worked for a chef that jumped on the line if someone called out.
Did Grant ever jump on the line?
No, not that I saw. I mean, that place is a little different, but it's not quite jumping. I mean, he works there. Yeah. Their service is different. He was there for service, but But yeah, Addison got it right. She is, if not
absolutely,
she's dude, up there for sure.
The fact that Girl in the Goat does a full menu tasting every day. Little Goat, we did a full one item off of each station every day when there were 7 stations. Yeah. Cabra, we do a full menu tasting every day. And then Ducks, you do it. I think they do most of the menu every day.
Most of it. It wasn't a full menu, but it was most of it. Yeah.
Every day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. It was always kind of a bummer, though, when she'd come to Little Goat last.
It's like, I'm so full.
Yeah. That or everywhere else just pissed her off along the way, and then she wound up at Little Goat just in the worst mood. It was fine, though. Like, she was always quick to apologize. She's like, it's not you. Just came from Duck, and they messed this stuff up and everything. I'm like, it's fine. As long as we're doing okay. So I have to, somebody that you must know, I don't know this, wants you to notice them. I don't know who this is, but.
That's my brother, Travis.
Okay. I'm sorry, Travis. He can't see. I'm not sure if he can see the chat. Like,
is that my brother or is that Slappy?
I don't know.
I don't
know. He also posted, he commented this before. I'm sorry I didn't get to it in time. So I'm not sure what that is.
Oh, that's funny. I wonder if that's my buddy Slappy. That would be somebody I play World of Warcraft with.
Okay, that's what I was assuming. Well, Travis, if you're Slappy, be heard, be known. Let us know. While working at any of these various restaurants, is there a dish that you're most proud of like getting on the menu or presenting to staff or whatever?
That's a tough one. I had a special at Little Goat that we ran for quite a while because Steph was like, "This is delicious." I took the old shrimp sauce and then I kind of spiced it in the style of like the kimchi base, and with like a seared piece of bass over the top of it, a couple wilted greens, and it was like super, super tasty, super fresh.
Super yummy, as she would say.
Super, very yummy. Yummy. That is the word. Yummy.
Yeah.
And then, I look at the Cabra menu and I'm super proud of it because, it was her, myself, and Jan in the basement at Girl in the Goat knocking out recipes. So, I didn't create all of them, but, having my hand in them, I'm super proud of that menu at the end of the day. because it's like the three of us did the whole thing from nothing. Like there were no like Peruvian hits that were at Little Goat or Girl in the Goat. Right. It was like, all right, let's write this whole thing together.
Yeah. I mean, say you knocked it out of the park. Cabra's pretty tasty.
I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, I remember when you were making the transition from Little Goat to Cabra, and you would like come in every so often. You're like, I've been working for like 15 days straight. Like, or when you would talk about juicing all the limes for the ceviche, because you just had like the hand crank press and everything.
Yeah,
just
sitting there.
Yeah. I feel your pain a little bit on that, just because with some of my private events, I've had my South American menu, which has ceviche on it, has been like very popular, and so I'm juicing limes and lemons and oranges like
oh yeah, man,
so much more than ever. Luckily, I have the KitchenAid like juicer attachment, which helps.
I finally saw one of those things, and I was like, "Where has this been for the last year and a half?"
It's great for sure. I'm assuming this is a family member. Is very proud of you.
That's my wife.
Oh, that's your wife. I'm sorry. She added me on Instagram, but that's not her name on there, so I didn't exactly recognize it. But that's so nice that your wife is proud of you.
It's nice.
It is nice. It's very nice.
I love you.
Is she in the house right now with you?
Yeah, she's in the living room.
Okay. I mean, my future wife is outside this room, but she hasn't said she's proud of me on this. It's fine. It's about me. It's about Jeremy. It's okay.
I'll guest host and interview you.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect.
So a lot of like younger chefs, when they get in the industry, they want to jump right to the Michelin restaurants, the fine dining, because it's very, I don't want to say pristine, but you have to have a lot of attention to detail. The stakes are sometimes higher. They demand perfection with a lot of stuff just because it's more critical in some ways, but you didn't really take that route. So with your attention to detail, with Stephanie, she has great attention to detail with all of her restaurants, even though it's not like fine dining, but all of her plating and stuff is still very nice. So with having to deal with that, was that something you kind of already had in you, that attention to detail, or is that something you like kind of picked up along the way?
I guess I had some version of it.
This guy's proud of me. Thank you.
I've known Mitch since I was 4 years old, by the way.
Okay. I'm glad he's proud of me.
That's good. He's he knows a lot about you. I'm glad that he's proud of you. I've always had some sort of attention to detail. I think that once you spend time working for Steph, your level of detail is increased just by proxy almost, because like like you just said, like she's so aware of everything that's happening in 4 restaurants every day, and now I mean technically 5 with the bakery aspect, Sugar Goat, in the Little Goat building. Like I remember being like hypercritical when I was doing music and stuff like that, and like when people would screw around and not take it serious, I would get upset. So it's like there is a level of detail that I've always kind of like looked at and paid attention to, but I think that it's been amplified by being where I am for so long. Hey, it's my dad and mom. Hey guys.
That's so nice.
They're so nice to me.
So nice.
They're proud of you. They're proud of you too, Alex.
I hope so. I hope that I made your parents proud.
You did.
Okay. So good. Yeah, I mean definitely working for Steph it's a unique experience for like what she finds to be that attention to detail. Like for her, every chef's kind of a little different, but it's like not a super clean plate or like knife cuts necessarily, except for scallions. She's very big on making sure those thin scallions with a sharp knife.
Gotta be thin scallions. Gotta be sharp knife.
Gotta. Absolutely.
Every time. I cut scallions every day at Cabra. Every day I cut them.
That's good. As long as your knife's sharp.
It is.
But yeah. If there's any future chefs out there, it just goes to show you don't have to go put yourself through the fine dining world. I don't want to downplay.
I mean, look, that's the thing is like I think it's important to like chase what excites you, like you you moved to Chicago to work at Alinea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Anderson, who worked for us for a bit, did the same thing. And like, if that drives you and that excites you, absolutely chase that. Like, I look back on my memories and I was like, oh man, when I was at De La Costa, we would sit and be like, yo, she's a badass. She took a whole duck, broke it down, and did a seared breast with bok choy and an orange glaze, and then took the leg and thigh and put it in an egg roll. Like, who does that on fucking day one? So it's like, that was something that I was excited about. So I chased it and I was like, this is where I want to be because it's what it's what's exciting to me. And it's like, if you want to get, tweezers and get into it and have like 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch by 1/8 of an inch perfect cubes of cucumber or whatever, like, go for it, chase it, put the effort into it and do it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It is all about, what you really want to do at the end of the day, where you want to be. But I do know a lot of people like shoot for the Michelin world just to kind of learn those skills, but it's definitely not, you learn those skills anywhere, because if you go find a good chef, they're going to demand perfection regardless of what their food is.
Yeah. So. De La Costa, our garnish was brunoise carrot and brunoise chive in every starch. Quinoa, grits. You finished your, there were like 4 or 5 different dishes. You had to have 2 quarts of brunoise carrot every day on your station.
2 quarts? That's a lot.
2 quarts every day.
That's a lot. But hey, you learn something from that,
Yeah, you do. You learn something from every place you're at.
Absolutely. There's always something to take away. Absolutely. So we kind of touched on this a little bit. We were talking about how, the music industry, can not pay very well, same as the food industry doesn't really pay that well. But how do you feel about payment for food workers as a whole, whether it's like fast food or fine dining, but whatever?
Generally speaking, the industry is underpaid, and generally speaking, we pay too little for food. I support a $15 minimum wage. I think everybody should be able to earn $15 an hour for whatever they're doing. And if you try to discount the work somebody else is doing to say that, oh, that's not worth $15, like McDonald's workers shouldn't make $15 an hour. Well, did you eat McDonald's during the pandemic ever? Did everybody have, like, you had a Big Mac at some point? You had a quarter pounder at some point? Like, that's somebody that was considered essential when you had to stay home, but now they're not worth that money now that you can go back to work. I just think in general, the amount of money that goes into running a restaurant versus how much money is seen at the end of the day as profit, the disparity is huge. And a lot of it comes from, underpaying people in hopes that they're just excited about the experience. I feel like you can attest to that in your past, and in some of those fine dining worlds, you are thriving off of your reputation to be able to, I hate to use the word exploit, but you're exploiting people because they just want to be there. Whereas you should pay everybody a livable wage. I don't pay my cooks trash, and I make sure that everybody's taken care of because I know that it's hard work. It's thankless work. The guests don't ever thank the kitchen, Like, the people that are eating don't care that you've been here since 2 and you'll get out at 2 and you're going to scrub 14 different pieces of equipment before you go home. They just care that their salmon ceviche was delicious, which it is because we take the time to hone our skills and put that work in to make sure that you eat that bite of food and you're like, wow, this is fantastic. So I think that absolutely that's worth a livable wage. And this industry as a whole, I think, kind of misses the mark. I'm fortunate enough to be in a position to where I feel like I can, on a personal level, change that. I hope that more people do.
Yeah, I think there is a movement right now for like better working conditions and as a whole for food service workers. It's it's tough. Like you said, a lot of people go to specific restaurants just kind of based on their merit or the chef, and then kind of get raked over the coals because it's just a good experience for them, a good thing to put on the resume, and you'll learn a lot. But it's kind of like you said, it's a little bit of exploitation. It's like Charlie Trotter got in trouble for that, way back when, for basically just not paying his employees because he thought it was payment enough that they got to work for him.
Yeah.
And so
I could say it because the restaurant's closed, but De La Costa, you would start getting paid at what time you were scheduled, regardless of how much prep you had to do. And we were responsible for all of our station prep. So if you had 6 hours of prep to do and service started at 5, you'd better be there at 11 to make sure you were set up by 5, regardless of your schedule saying you start at 2:30.
Yeah.
It's like that's the way it was 12 years ago, and it's like heck, no more of that shit.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely worked at places where they try to like cut down. They're like, you're not allowed in the kitchen before this time because like we can't pay you for those extra hours and everything else. And they're like, well, it's fine. I'll just kind of go in because at the end of the day, it's part of that yes chef culture of, well, I have to get my prep done because I have to be ready for service, and there's really no excuse for that.
Right.
And so and cooks just do it, and it's like, in a way, it's like part of that journey, but it's a little ridiculous that like you just be able to pay for your staff,
Yeah.
It's
if your business model doesn't allow you to pay people a livable wage, you should reevaluate your business model.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my personal opinion. I don't own a restaurant. I don't know if I ever actually will, but I would have a business model that supported keeping my staff employed comfortably before I bent over to make sure that I could charge $3 for a sandwich instead of $7 or $8.
Right.
That's just
me. Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, I feel like that speaks a lot for your management style and how you run things in the kitchen, and just wanting to treat your staff well, and probably give them the time off if they need it, and everything else to make sure they have a good work-life balance and everything that goes into just a healthy life in general.
Yeah, you need that stuff now more than ever.
Yeah, especially now, and I think that's really great that you're, I guess, a driving force to like make that happen. I know Stephanie is really good about that, and the Boka group as a whole. I don't want to talk down on Boka group because I feel like they do have really good benefits, and they take care of their staff as much as they can. I think
Absolutely.
That's really great.
I don't think I would have the opportunity to treat my staff the way that I do if I wasn't where I'm at working for who I work for. I think I'm fortunate enough to be where I am and then have the ability to take care of those people.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, you're my Sue and my CDC for, I don't know, decent
year and a half, just shy of 2 years.
I think so, something like that. And so, yeah, I mean, it's and it was great. We, working under you, it was good. Matthew wants to know what about insurance? Insurance is a tough one too. Everyone definitely deserves health insurance. It shouldn't be something. I mean, that's a whole issue in itself. Should an employer have to provide the insurance, or should we just have it?
Should we just have it? We should have it. Also, for the record, Boka offers insurance.
They do, yeah, they do. Just kind of piggyback on your management style, but when new cooks do arrive, what do you do to cultivate and retain that team mentality? Because there's so many kitchens out there that just cycle through cooks, and just like they have such high turnover rate. Like, how do you prevent that?
I kind of try to just bring everybody into the fold. It's important to make sure everybody feels like they're part of the team. If you don't know everybody's name, if you don't say, hey, how are you today? What's going on? How was last night? How are you? How's your brother? How's your sister? How's your mom? How's your dad? How are your kids? If you don't engage with your staff and try to really make sure that they feel like they're part of this, you're going to lose people all the time. Yeah,
absolutely.
I make it a point to say hello to everybody when I walk in. How are you today? And, and listen and not just be like, hey, how are you? Just walk away. Like, hey, how are you, Alec? Are you good today? Is everything okay? How was this morning? Are you doing all right? But that's just me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I noticed that when I worked for you, and I tried to take that after you had left, and I was kind of running the show a little bit before Brooks came in, and did my best to make sure I'm cultivating that team mentality that people want to come work for me, not just the restaurant, and they want to work hard while they're there. And they know that, I'm going to go to bat for them just like they go to bat for me. Push them to show.
Have their backs, 100%.
Yeah. Gotta do it. So with the pandemic happening and everything, what did that look like for Cabra?
So Cabra is fortunate to have 2.5, let's call 2.5 patios that are outside, and then another full dining room inside. We have 2 individual patios that can seat, I think, 8 tables each. And then there's the pool deck, which can also seat people, but it's closed because of the weather and stuff. So I think total full occupancy, we're somewhere in like the 230 people at a time place setting. So if you take away half of that, we can still serve 100 people outside at a time. So
That's we're good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm super fortunate to have been able to keep working. I'm glad that I was able to bring back some staff and like work through these challenges and like figure out how to do it. I've now opened Cabra for the 3rd time, and every time we do it, we get a little better. We get a little smarter. We fix this. We adjust that, and we've been, I think, one of the more fortunate restaurants in the city just because of the space that we're able to work in.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but I know a lot of restaurants obviously have been struggling through the pandemic. I think it's been quite incredible how restaurants have adapted and survived through a lot of this.
I mean, it's our whole industry.
Right?
Figure it out.
It really is. Adapt, figure it out, adapt and survive and keep pushing forward. Yeah, definitely. And that's really great that Cabra was able to keep going. I know Girl and the Goat was cranking for as long as they could with the outdoor dining and everything. Same with Little Goat with the window. And so it's been really nice to see that.
Yeah, there's some things happening over there which are very exciting. So
Addison is saying that he can tell I really want to say the phrase. And I do. I've caught myself so many times where I'm not like, nope, don't say that. Don't say it.
I love it.
I gotta get up. I gotta get up and do stuff tomorrow. I can't just get hammered tonight by saying. I'll say it a few more times.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure. We'll get through this. I'll do it one more. We'll do another one here. All right. As I'm pouring this drink, I've been asking this question a little bit more because it is very prominent in our industry and in the music industry, but it's kind of chicken or the egg. Do you think that the culinary and music industry, the cultures breed an interest in drugs, or do you think it's those who work in the industry that are prone to drugs?
I think it's a little bit of both. I've never been one for drugs. I didn't start drinking until I was 30. And by drinking, I mean like figuring out that I like whiskey.
Okay.
I think what happens is when you start to, concentrate groups of people who feel like they're outcasts, you start to try to find ways to cope with the feeling of being an outcast. You've got like-minded individuals around you who never fit in, who never were able to go to school and get a degree. And then you start to kind of like find coping mechanisms for that. And, music's a great coping mechanism on its own. You get out some aggression, you get out some feelings, you kind of like put yourself into it and let it express where you're at. And food's the same way. You get into it and you're just like, I burned myself. Shit, that hurt. But man, I felt something. But like, I mean, you know what I mean, though. It's like
no, absolutely.
I think it's tough to look at both industries and kind of figure out which came first, the chicken or the egg. But I think the important thing is to recognize that they're there and to like kind of, keep an eye on it and, make sure your people are good, because some people do drugs for fun, but some people do drugs to forget. And what are you trying to forget? Yeah. Are you all good? Like, check in, make sure everything's fucking good.
Yeah, absolutely. I also feel a lot of it has to do with like that stress relief. A lot of the music industry is very stressful. The same with cooking, you're working all day and, you get off or you have to keep pushing. So you just need that whatever substance to kind of keep you pushing forward.
Yeah, you got to get over that hill. And sometimes it's the adrenaline of knocking out killer service on the saute station, or it's like, some people love a pill at the end of the night to kind of just like, fall apart. And like, everything in moderation. I guess.
Service. Yeah. I feel like it's gotten I think it's gotten better. I don't believe that there's as much drugs in kitchens as there used to be.
No. I've definitely fired a line cook for doing coke in front of me, and I was like, do me a favor and get the fuck out and don't ever come back here. What is wrong with you? He's like, no, I'm just getting ready. And it's like, you're getting out.
Yeah. You have to go to Schwa for that.
Then it's encouraged. We're all in this together.
And not talking trash on Schwa. If you get a chance to go, the food's awesome. It's delicious. I went not this last year, but 2019, I guess then. Yeah, for my birthday. And it was incredible. The food was great. And they offered you can go in the back and do a shot with them if you want or smoke a joint with them. It's great.
I guess it's different because weed's legal now. Like, you smoke some weed, man. Go for it.
I'm pretty sure it's still illegal to do it in a kitchen just for like health regulations, but
I'm sure
it's not an illegal substance. Yeah.
Again, not my cup of tea. Doesn't agree with me. I tried to figure it out. It doesn't work. I like a glass of whiskey every now and then, but for those people that love it, more power to you, man.
Yeah, that's cool. But if you do have a chance to go to Schwa, it's delicious. You won't. It's a good time. Enough plugs for Schwa, but all right. So we're about an hour, and I'm just about done with my questions. Just about 2 left before we get to our lightning round. But as chefs, we always get to keep learning. There's just endless cuisines, cultures, regions that we can find that do food differently. If there was one thing about food you could learn tomorrow, what would it be?
Pasta, and barbecue. Like,
okay,
whole hog, or less just like a smoker full of 60 briskets. Like one of either pasta or barbecue. Those would be my.
That makes sense. I dabble in pasta. I'm not great at it yet. I'm not saying it.
I can though. It's fine.
You can say it. I'm not saying it. I might say it one more time before we're done. I can handle one more.
Get a little left.
All right. I've been pouring them to order because I can't.
I'm just ready to go.
I know. I'm not much of a whiskey. Yeah, I'm not much of a whiskey person, but I don't mind doing. My buddy Cameron, I don't know if he's watching or not, but every time we go out and he knows I hate it, he always orders us shots of Jameson. Every time. All right, last question. I ask every one of my guests this, and you can't say knife, but what is your most relied on kitchen tool?
Tiny tongs.
Tiny tongs. That's a good one.
You know what I'm talking about. The ones that are about this big. They have one of them at Costa. Yep, I love them. Yeah. They're small. They're nimble. You can kind of either that or a spoon.
Spoons are good. Why don't you just get some tweezers, man? Just end it and just get a decent pair of tweezers.
Tiny tongs are great. Tiny tongs are great for me.
Tweezers are the same thing, but more precise. I don't know. Look into tweezers, man. It's okay. It's not going to hurt. Just do some tweezers. Do some tweezers.
We had the same pair. I just happened to used to feed a snake with mine.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
Oh, God.
Okay, so that is the bulk of the questions here. So now we're into the lightning round. All right, lightning round. Answer as fast as you can, whatever comes to your head first. First question, how long is your hair?
It's to my waist. I just cut 2 feet off. They were down to my kneecaps.
You just got 2 feet off?
I'll send you a video. I threw them at my cat.
Okay. Please do. All right, number 2, what is your guilty pleasure band?
I'm pretty forthcoming with all of my music likes. I don't think I have a guilty pleasure. I love everything.
No, there's not one that's just like, I guess I made a Justin Bieber song every so often, like something where like.
The song, here you go. I'll give you this one. The song Breathe by Telepop Music.
Okay. All right.
You look that one up.
I'll have to look that one up. I'm not sure I know that one. I thought you were going to say by, what's her name? Faith Hill.
What?
Breathe by Faith Hill. No? I don't know. That's
No, it was in like a
the
car
only Breed
commercial.
song I know. But
It was in like a car,
All right.
Parker commercial.
Okay. All right, number 3. What is the scariest animal?
Shark.
Shark? That's the second time I've heard shark. I don't find sharks
because they're
scary.
fucking terrifying.
I'm not scared of sharks.
They're built to murder.
I know they are, but they don't just murder randomly. I feel like they're...
All right, fine then, shark lover. Crocodiles.
See, I'd be more scared of a
Armored
crocodile.
machine.
All right, exactly. That's way scarier. All right, either way. All right, number 4. Sweet or savory?
Savory.
Yeah, I'm the same way. All right, number 5. What do you cut yourself most on in the kitchen?
Peeler.
Peeler. Makes sense. I was going to ask peeler or the saran wrap teeth.
Fucking things. Oh god, I hate those
those
things.
Are
I use my arm now for the saran wrap. I'll pull it out and I'll use my whole arm with the sweatshirt because the kitchen's cold. I'll use the whole thing. That's my arm.
I've definitely used my arm before, but I'll still like get cuts. That makes sense with the thing. But yeah, the teeth, veggie peeler, and mandolin are the number 1 or the number 3. I don't even know where it's going. Number 3, freaking. That's what chefs cut their hands on the most. Are those 3 things?
I couldn't fucking brutal, man. Oh, those hurt so bad.
They do. All right. Number 6. What's the most days that you've worked in a row in a kitchen?
Opening Cabra, it was 63.
Wow, that's a lot. That was more than I was anticipating.
It was a lot. We did it though.
That's a lot.
Me and Ron, we did it.
He's a grinder. I like Ron. I don't know if he's watching or not, but I wish he was. He's cool. Ron's a cool guy.
I wish he was. I miss you, Ron. I love you, Ron.
Hopefully he'll watch the rebroadcast when it's on just on YouTube. But all right, number 7. What is your most referenced cookbook?
Flavor Bible.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Does that count? It's not really a cookbook, but okay, cool. Yeah, Flavor Bible.
Flavor Bible. That works. Yeah. All right, number 8. What is your most favorite Halloween costume that you've worn?
I was Princess Leia at Cabra, and I took my dreads and I wrapped them up in buns. Nice.
I think I remember that. I think I was still working. I think I was at Duck Duck when you did that. I don't think I saw it in person, but I did get to see the pictures. That was pretty good.
It was good.
All right.
I was proud of that one.
Yeah, you should be. That's pretty clever. Not a lot of people can do that because most people don't have like 8-foot dreads. Gotta work with what you got. All right, number 9. What is the most used app on your phone?
Instagram. No, Spotify. I'm going Spotify.
Okay. That's fair.
I can play music while not looking at my phone.
Fair enough. Travis has a guest lightning round question of he wants to know how long your big toe is.
3.5 inches long.
Is that serious? Is that really how long it is? Why is it so long?
I'm going to leave that for you to figure out.
I don't know if that's like average or like if that. It seems excessive for a big toe. I don't know.
Oh.
I'm going to look that up.
There's only one way for you to find out.
To look at your foot? I don't want to do that. I don't like feet. They gross me out. I don't like feet. Not a feet person. Okay, number 10. What is your favorite season for menu development?
Spring.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Peas, ramps, all the, everything's coming into season. It's just like the whole world is alive. It's great.
Yeah, that's a good one. All right, number 11. What is the best movie trilogy?
What is this a question? It's above your head. You already know the answer. It's the original Star Wars trilogy.
Okay, well, not everyone likes Star Wars, Jeremy,
Well, then they're objectively bad people.
I agree.
Second place is Lord of the Rings, though, because
okay, those are amazing films. I watched a whole series on how they did the special effects, and it blew me away.
Yeah,
it's crazy. All right. And Zena's another. We got a lot of guests.
Hot dog.
Hot dog or pizza?
Hot dog.
What about burger? He also said burger. I say hot dog as well.
Hot dog. All day.
Yeah. All day.
I don't have a burger tattooed on me. Also, reason hot dog, I was a vegetarian for 12 years. First date I went on with my now wife, we went to Portillo's, and I got a hot dog. That is the story. Hot dogs over everything.
Hot dogs. Okay, that makes sense. For 12 years, man, that's a long time.
Yeah, it is.
All right, last question. Who would play you in a movie about your life?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
He could do that. I mean, he can play any role, let's be honest.
Right, that's why.
Right.
Not because I'm incredibly handsome or attractive, the same as he is, in a rugged fashion, kind of like he was in The Revenant.
I was going to say, he pulled it off for The Revenant for being all rugged and everything.
Only on merits of his talent alone, obviously.
Obviously. All right. Well, does anyone else watching have any other questions for Jeremy? Because we are about to wrap it up. Anybody? No? That's fine.
I'm not watching.
Huh?
I'm not watching at the same time as we're talking.
Oh. Either way. All right. Well, that's all the question I have for you, Jeremy. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. It was really nice talking to you, get to know you a little bit better than I did before, and just catch up. It's been a while.
Yeah, man. It's good to talk to you. I'm glad you're doing this. Yeah. I think this is a good thing. It's really fun.
I hope so. I want to keep doing it. It's been fun to get to know obviously I call upon a lot of my friends that I know from the industry, but I have gotten to talk to people who I don't know at all, and so it's been really interesting and been fun. Your dad wants to know where his empanadas are.
200 North Green, 12th floor. Starts at 4 p.m.
That's Cabra's address. If anyone wants to know.
That is Cabra's address.
Your wife wants to know your favorite place you've ever eaten.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Ever eaten? I gotta go. When we actually, it's with her when we were in Vegas and we went to Little Mama or Other Mama, and the GM was our server and like walked us through the menu. Had the same allergies that she had, and it was just like one of the best dining experiences of my life.
Wow.
And it was like in a strip mall. We weren't even sure if they were open. They were, and he was like, dude, come sit down. And he was like, oh, I got a bunch of cool whiskey. Do you want some? I mean, it was like the stars completely aligned for that meal, and I'll never forget how good that meal was.
That's awesome.
That's it. There it is.
Yeah. Sounds like a good one. All right, last one. Do you have any regrets about being a vegetarian during culinary school?
Absolutely. That was fucking stupid. Eat everything. Try everything. It wasn't until I was at De La Costa that any of my chefs were like, no, try this. Eat this just so you know. I remember the first time I had foie gras, and I was like, I'm not fucking eating that. And he goes, yes, you are. And I was like, why? And he goes, so you can know what it tastes like. And I was like, all right, actually, you are looking out for my interests here. Like, he's the dude who made me eat a pig's head. First guy that told me what sweetbreads were and had me try them. He fed me like
some sweetbreads.
First A5 Wagyu that I'd ever had in my life, and I was a vegetarian the whole time. I was like, this is wild to me. But like, yeah, fuck yeah, I would never do that again, ever, ever. Don't be a vegetarian in school. It's dumb.
Doesn't make sense. That was school was the first time I had foie gras, and I was like, how have I never had this in my life before? It was crazy. Okay, last question here. Travis wants to know, does Jeremy love Slappy or his wife more?
I'll answer later.
Okay. On the World of Warcraft planes of wherever. I don't know anything about World of Warcraft. But all right. Okay. All right. Well, again, Jeremy, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for everyone who watched. We will have another episode this Monday, so look forward to that. It should be really fun. And I hope everyone has a great night and great rest of the week. So have a good night, everybody. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'll do one more. This was, for sure, a great show. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Cheers, buddy.